Welcome back to Void Racer Devlog number 4. In this devlog, we're going to be taking a look at the audio, or taking a listen to the audio. We're going to be working on the audio. Audio is a huge part of the experience in any given game, and I think it gets overlooked a lot just because it's very easy to wait till the very end and then just try to throw some things in. And I haven't had a ton of experience working with audio in video games. When I was like 16, I played guitar, used like Audacity back then to record songs and do just very minimal track editing. So I have had some experience in the past, but not a lot. So basically what I did here was try to find some audio clips that were close enough to what I wanted and then tweak them to fit my game. So first, where do we get sounds like this? There are several places out on the web, and you can literally just Google sound clips or something like that, and you'll come up with some. Generally royalty-free if you're going to be using them in something that you're going to release to the world. But there were two primary sources for me. I used the YouTube audio library, which, if you didn't know, there's just basically royalty-free audio that YouTube has out there that you can get songs and sound effects. And they're just free, people upload them, and then you're free to use them in your projects, which is really nice. But I'm also an Adobe Cloud subscriber because I use things like Premiere and Photoshop. So they also have Adobe Audition, which is like their version of Audacity, their sound mastering program. And with that, they have a bunch of audio files that you can get. So I grabbed some of those, specifically the ones that were labeled Transportation and Crash, and then I just kind of listened through those to try and find things that were close. Now, all of the sounds that I have so far come from the car itself. I was just trying to get the car sound to sound correct. So let's just take a quick listen to what everything I've got in there, and then we can break it down piece by piece. So I think the most noticeable one off the bat is the engine, and that was the first one that I did. I'll play the full sound clip that I found for this, and then I'll show you the small little chunk that I grabbed from it. And then I also had to make it repeatable, and I used Audition for this. So basically, once I had the little chunk that I wanted, in order to make it loop, you basically cut it in the middle, and then drag the front piece to the end, and then crossfade the middle. So the beginning and the end were once together, so those will loop seamlessly, and then you just basically blur out where the clips are actually different. And it doesn't always work, but in this case it worked pretty well. So once again, this is what the actual clip of the engine sounds like. And then if I isolate it in the game, this is what it sounds like. This one was actually interesting because I wasn't 100% sure how to get it to sound like a car. At first I thought that I was going to have to do some sort of like fake gear shifting and just basically fake the audio and go through the full accelerating process of a car and then just basically play that while you're accelerating. But I couldn't really find any good audio of that whole progression, and I was very confused. But then I just brought an audio clip of an engine into Unity and started messing with some of the settings that I have access to in their audio source component. And I found that the pitch actually does most of what I need it to do. They have pitch and volume, and with those two things, I was able to create a pretty convincing engine sound, I think. Because the pitch will make things a higher pitch if you increase the number. It also speeds up the clip slightly. And then if you make the pitch number lower, then the clip gets a little slower and lower pitched. So in order to make these engine sounds, I basically just have a desired pitch, and I lerp from the current pitch to the desired pitch, and I just get that desired pitch from the acceleration of the car. And here is the code that makes that happen. So you can see that I'm basically just taking the speed of the car, and I just have a weird little function that makes that range fall within the pitch range that I want. And then if the car is stopped, I have it switch to a different set of logic to play more of an idling sound. Now you might notice that I don't have any gear shifting happening. I might add that later. I think I would be able to do that in the code pretty easily. It was just something that I wasn't too worried about right this second. And so apparently this car right now just has one gear, and it can go super fast in first gear apparently. But the lerping when you brake, I think actually sounds pretty good. I like the effect that the lerp gives when you let off the gas, and then it can kind of pick up where it was because of the speed factor. So I think overall it works pretty good. Another thing I knew I wanted was some sort of sound for the tires moving on the ground. And I think I got this from playing GTA, because there are some times, especially when your car, if your car's dead or something like that, it gets blown up, but you're still rolling, you can hear just basically it sounds like dirt or gravel on concrete and the tire moving over it. And I really liked that sound, so I wanted just a hint of that underneath. So basically I just found a clip of walking on gravel, and then I made that loop. And then I basically have the pitch doing the same thing that the engine was doing, but the volume is actually doing the opposite thing. It's louder when the car's moving slower, and then it's quieter when the car's moving faster, just because you don't notice it as much when you're going fast. So if I isolate this sound, this is what it sounds like. And then I will layer the engine back on here just so you can get a feel of what it sounds like with the engine noise. The next sound that I wanted to get was a tire skidding noise, and this is basically just that typical tire squeal that you hear when when wheels are skidding across the ground. And I was able to get the skid factor for each of the wheels. They basically have a slip velocity in both the forward and side direction, so I can even tell which way it's sliding. And then I basically just play this skid sound, and I will isolate that here so you can hear what it sounds like. So that one was pretty simple. The next few sounds that I have are all impact sounds for when you crash into something. I have a small crash, a big crash, and then like a scrape for when you scrape up against something on the side. The scrape didn't turn out exactly how I wanted it to. It's more of just an impact. I might go back and revise that to make it more of like a metal scraping sound, but for now this is what I've got. And this is basically just detecting the velocity of an impact. So when the car collides with something, I get the velocity of that hit point. And I do the same kind of math I did with the engine pitch to make these impacts sound bigger or smaller based on how fast you were going when you hit something. And then I also have the scrape sound detecting whether the impact came from the sides of the car rather than the front or the bottom. And this is what those crash sounds sound like. So then to wrap it all up, I'll play it again with all of the sounds enabled so you can just kind of get a feel for what I'm going for here. Alright, well that was pretty much it for this update. This was kind of a unique one. I was kind of worried going into this because I think this is one of the things that I've researched the least, so I really was just winging it, but I think it turned out okay, and it was actually pretty fun once I got into it. The only frustration that I really had while doing this was trying to work with Adobe Audition. I don't think it's the fault of Adobe Audition, I just think it's a little too complex for me, and there's not a ton of information out there on like tutorials and things like that. I wasn't able to get a lot of information from that. I might actually switch to Audacity, which is a free program and it's really awesome, but I wonder if that would suit my needs better, just because I just need something really simple to get these clips into the format that I need them. So we'll see. With all the things I want to do with this game, I'll be adding quite a few more sounds later in the process. So I'm sure this isn't the last you guys will hear about this. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. I'm interested to see how you guys tackle audio and adding sound clips into your game and just audio design in general. So let me know how you approach this down in the comments. And then I think in the next video, we are going to work on some more physics stuff. We're going to get the car to control a little bit better. We're going to get jumping to work a little bit better, and we're going to add in some boost. So hopefully we get all that done for the next video, and that should be pretty interesting, I think. Well, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.